We're here with Rich Goldberg, Foundation for Defense of Democracies, and really an expert in this entire field, Iran and the Middle East and so forth. Rich Goldberg, you know, I want to talk about Donald Trump for a minute. We've had presidents before Donald Trump, obviously of both parties, none of whom would have done what Donald Trump just did. We have a Democrat Party that believes its role is to sabotage Donald Trump and our military. In fact, I say they're leading Operation Sabotage while he's leading Operation Epic Fury. It's so important that we have this commander-in-chief when we have this commander-in-chief, because literally none of this would be happening, would it?
Mark, I don't believe that presidents know when history is going to come knocking. It happens at times you can't expect. But what makes a great president is being willing to answer the call, not to shy away, not to cower, not to be deterred, as many past presidents have. And repeatedly, throughout his two presidencies, when history knocks, President Trump answers the call. And that is what he just did. We have an enemy that has been at war with the United States for 47 years, with so much American blood on its hands, the largest sponsor of terrorism in the world, pursuing nuclear weapons, pursuing the delivery vehicles for those weapons to reach the continental United States. The ability at any moment, at China's command perhaps, when we are facing a conflict in the Indo-Pacific, or at a moment where they see the hidden imam and think this is the moment to strike the Americans, or at a moment where they get a great deal from a Democratic president like Barack Obama and make $1 trillion and build those weapons. The ability to light the Middle East on fire, the way you see them trying to do right now, to be able to sabotage the oil markets, to be able to attack shipping in the Gulf, to be able to try to shut down the Strait of Hormuz, to be able to attack our allies, and of course, to be able to actually deliver those weapons that they seek to the U.S. homeland. That is something on its own that needs to be stopped on our terms, at our moment of choosing, not this radical regime's moment of choosing. And when I think President Trump saw them breaking every red line, continue to reconstitute their nuclear weapons program and their long-range missile programs, and of course, killing tens of thousands of people in the streets, but recognizing the historic vulnerability of that moment for this American enemy, he has taken action. And by the way, we need to zoom out, America. We need to understand all the steps this president has taken in the last year to reshape the future when it comes to the United States and its long-term competition, Cold War, with the CCP in Beijing. He is remaking the century to make it an American century, from making us American energy dominant to taking back control of the periodic table with critical minerals, what you saw in Caracas, and now what you see in Tehran. All of this adds up to catastrophic failures for the Communist Chinese Party. That is what is happening right now. This is amazing for America. We are 6 days in, 7 days in, and this is moving at a pace no one could ever have imagined. We are decimating their missiles, their drones, their Navy, their ability to remake a nuclear weapons program, and soon, with the help of our allies in Israel, decapitating their ability to wage war against the Iranian people as well. Understand what is at stake here for our national security. Donald Trump is delivering for the United States of America.
Beautifully put. And conversely, the Democrats are trying to obstruct him every step of the way. And when confronted with the fact that the enemy says we have 22,000 pounds of nuclear material, what are you going to do about it? The Democrats say, surrender. Rich Goldberg, I want to thank you very much. God bless you, my friend.
God bless you, Mark. God bless the president and all of our troops.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.